Hello?
Hello, Martin.
Hi, is this Danny?
Yeah, this is Danny. How's it going?
Hey, how are you?
Good. How you been? It's been a long time since we talked when you were on the Boys Cast.
Yeah, are we live or?
We are live. Yeah, we're live on my YouTube channel. It's we're totally live right now. So just so you know.
Great. I just turned away from Donald Trump, who's seems very much older than he was the last time.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Do you think he has any chance? Do you think this is gonna? Because I was just saying it's crazy that the election's not even over from last week.
Yeah, I don't know what'll happen. Obviously, nobody does, but it just strikes me that he looks like a lot older, a lot more tired, quieter, etc. But we have like two 90-year-old people, trying to trying to become president. It's really a weird thing.
Yeah, you would think that there's been a lesson learned about something along the lines of that, but I guess not.
Yeah, I mean, at least Sam Bankman won't be president. So
no, Sam Bankman will not be president. So I don't remember when we talked about the Boys Cast. What was your thoughts on crypto? Just so you know, by the way. So the episode, this is like I do a weekly call-in show, but it's on YouTube and like Rumble and stuff. But the topic tonight is the worst you've ever been scammed. So I had an FTX account.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes, I'm also sorry to hear that for myself. But
yeah, dude.
What was your position on crypto?
I'm a crypto person. I mean, I first and foremost, I just want to take a step back. Like, crypto is software at the end of the day, and one of the things about software is that software is for nerds, and software is for people who like to stare at a computer screen all day, like me.
Yep.
If your best friend is Python instead of real person, then software is your kind of thing. And the problem is that 99% of people, that shouldn't be kind of the case, right? Like, they should have normal lives and just, worry about that. But for people like me or people who love to program, this is their life. And crypto is just an extension of software at the end of the day. Like, this is not the biggest revolution of all time. Software as a whole is a really important revolution. But when we made changes in software, when I say we, I had nothing to do with it. When really sophisticated, great heroes of software made things like the NoSQL database versus the SQL database, that was like a profound change in the way databases worked. And I'm just picking one out of, you could pick hundreds of examples. And they didn't rename arenas. They didn't turn things into like daily discussions about stuff like this. These are like fairly esoteric things. Like, the idea of a zero knowledge proof is a crypto concept.
Yeah.
A distributed ledger technology is a crypto concept. And like, forcing this stuff to the mainstream and forcing people to consume it, really a huge mistake. Trying to mainstream this stuff and the applications of it. It's sort of like the internet in 2000. We're going to have this overhype period, then it's going to change everybody's lives in ways that we won't even notice, right? We don't even think about the internet anymore as like something that's abstract or has changed our lives. It's just embedded within us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what do you think about all this FTX stuff? Do you believe the real conspiracy have you seen what a lot of like the crazy conspiracies being floated around him, and that he's like a CIA plant?
Yeah. I mean, so the funny thing about conspiracy theories is the truth is often stranger than fiction. And the truth here is already one of the most fascinating stories of all time. So like, the idea that we would have to like try to make it more interesting is really silly.
True.
Yeah. Like, this is already like a Dostoevsky or Homeric, level, tale. So, making it even crazier is so stupid to me. Like, the politics side of it, I think everybody's getting wrong. This guy is not a power player in DC. It takes decades to become a power player in DC. You don't just wake up and have influence out there.
Yeah, you can't just buy your way into it overnight.
No, definitely not. There's a lot of people that have been giving for decades. They have real relationships, real trust. That doesn't happen overnight, especially when you're waltzing in on some weird thing. Like, if your last name is, I don't know, Mellon or something like that, right? And your family's had money for for 100 years, that's one thing. But this guy is just sort of like a nobody coming in on some really risky industry, crypto. So like if I'm a politician, let's say I'm a senator who's been there 6 terms, I'm looking at this kid and saying, listen, I'll take his money, but I don't know if this guy's going to be here in 4 years or 6 years. I don't know if this guy's going to, I don't know anything about crypto. Like, I'll wait and see here. So I think that's kind of the thing about that. So I really don't think these conspiracies are real. I think it's just silly. The reality is fucking crazy, right?
Yeah. So what do you think he did? Did he just leverage traded all of the money away in like Alameda, basically?
Yeah, how crazy is that? I think that's what happened. I think basically this guy was long, all of the, and in fact, there's some evidence to this. One of the guys that was the CEO of Alameda before Miss America took over, my future wife, Carolyn. I don't know if you're familiar with her.
Yeah, you Miss America? Yeah.
Yes, she's something else.
She is something else. Yeah, I wonder how it's going to all shake out for all of them.
Yeah, I think she'll be testifying against him in court.
But... Oh, you think she's gonna? Do you think she's gonna play some sort of like victim card where she's like, I had no choice?
I don't know if she's gonna play a huge victim card, but I think just knowing what I know about the criminal justice system, like it's fairly typical to sort of. And I really hate to typecast women here because there are some women that won't do this.
Yes.
But the women tend to take the stand pretty quickly. In fact, men do too. It's not like, one of these things that, everybody tends to, I hate to use this term because it has connotations, but to rat
sure.
Or to tell on their former friends when the shit hits the fan, because the government can say, listen, you want to go to jail for 30 years? Do you want to take that stand for 30 minutes?
Right.
One is a lot easier choice than the other for most people.
Yeah, and it's probably pretty easy when you're not in that position to be like, yeah, I would never do that. And then they're like, how about this? And
exactly. And I met hundreds of people in prison that said that. And the few people that said that they had too much pride to do that or whatever, they inevitably got 25 or 30 years. And, there are, in the criminal world, there are consequences to becoming a rat. In the civilian world, to Carolyn Ellison, there are no consequences. Nobody's going to do a drive-by and have revenge on her if she takes the stand.
Yeah. Like it's not like Sam Bankman-Fried or one of like the other 10 people who are running that thing.
Yeah, you didn't swear a blood oath to FTX, or although who knows with this creepy cult shit. Like I said, why conjure a conspiracy theory? This shit is hilarious. They're taking drugs.
Yeah,
fucking.
The Adderall patches. Do you see those like super high potency Adderall patches? You can't eat meat on them.
And they have their own thing. So this is sort of. I had a bit of a shit-eating grin. I don't think this is a positive thing for anyone, obviously, given the circumstances, but there's this EA, effective altruism.
Yeah,
thing.
That's their whole thing, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of like a cult. And I have some friends in tech who started this sort of opposite movement called EAC, which I'm a part of. And we joke that it's a cult and stuff like that, but it's basically everything that EA stands for. We kind of stand for the opposite in a lot of ways. And so we were sort of surprised to see all these people take the EA out of their like Twitter profiles and stuff like that after Sam, sort of has collapsed. I think the craziest thing that he's doing is just like the tweeting and like the weird shit that he's doing now. Like, dude, you gotta get your shit together. Like,
like he's not taking this seriously almost.
Yeah. And I think that as soon as the cuffs come on, he's going to realize what a fucking colossal, like, I think he still thinks like he can make this right or like, dude, it's over. Like, there's nothing you can do. Like, the best thing you can do, given your track record of fucking things up, is actually to take a breather, man. Like, go, do something else.
I mean, has there ever been a bigger fuck up in terms of like money and speed?
No, not even close. Like, if you look at Lehman Brothers or like Bear Stearns or any of these other things, like, those were fuck ups, but not like this. Like, those were like very different.
He was like 100x leverage trading just their entire customer deposits of FTX. Essentially, it seems like in order for
the weirdest part is that like the people at Lehman and Bear were like, listen, this is what we did. This is why we did it. We thought we were smart and we were wrong. This guy like doesn't understand what he did was wrong. Like he's trying to. Like, it's so disingenuous. Like, it really is somewhere between Madoff, but also like Madoff was like a cunning person, whereas Sam is like, you can't tell if he was cunning or stupid. Like, for all the MIT education, like, I wonder if like it's a neuroatypical thing where he's like maybe not that, not all there in some ways.
Yeah,
But
like
he's
zero
very-
EQ.
Right. But he comes off as intelligent in lots of places. So it's hard for me to, like, maybe he's just a sociopath. Like, I think a lot of people are saying that now, that he's just like clearly somebody that's, just doesn't even understand like what he's doing. Because like he also said in a New York Times article that he's sleeping well and shit like that. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, like
Why
what do
would
you
say-
even? Yeah, that's just just not understanding how bad the optics are. Like, does he not understand that he's become like a villain? He went from a darling to a villain overnight.
Yeah. And again, somebody saying that we're gossiping like women, but I mean, I think to me, like, this is past gossip, because this is sort of something that's affecting everyone in this sort of crypto world. And it's unfortunate because it's really putting a black eye on what's a pretty promising technology. And a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money. So or have lost a lot of money.
I mean, my like accounts in FTX, like when it happened, I tried to withdraw money and then it was just pending. And then just like a couple that on Friday night when they were like all that weird stuff was going on, then I just went to go look. And then when they were saying there was like all these Trojan horses that they were putting.
Oh God. Yeah.
All that stuff. And then all my accounts are just zeroed out. Like they just say zero.
Yeah, I have a friend who lost $100 million in this whole thing. So it's really
$100 million.
Yeah, he was one of FTX's biggest customers, and I don't know if he's going to get 5 or 10 of that back. That'll be 10 years from now. You know?
Exactly.
So it's nuts.
That sucks. How's he doing?
I almost am avoiding checking in with him because ultimately, I can't help, so I'd rather, he's probably going through a lot of things. So I don't know how much of one of my friends is like, no, you should reach out and tell him you support him. And it's like, I'm always the kind of person that doesn't want to hear that.
Right. Like when it's
like
bad shit's happening to you, you're just like, whatever, let me just.
Yeah. Like you're in such a sort of a daze that you don't even remember who talked to you and what. So anyway, I mean, I think the bigger question here is like, when does he get arrested? Does he cop a plea? How much time does he get? Like, to me, that's the most interesting stuff. And like, can we get any transparency into what happened? Because usually these things are like a little private with discovery and the whole like judicial system. Like, some things leak out into the documents, but a lot of things don't. And it'd be really fun to see some emails or some of the shit that this guy like tried to pull over the last, decade.
Yeah.
Or even
not even a decade. It's 3 years.
Yeah.
Well, they're saying that Alameda was created or something, or maybe not. Well, I guess he was doing his like Korean kimchi swap thing, like
Right.
or whatever. That was, but because one of the conspiracies is they're like Joe Biden announces this is the crazy conspiracy people are like Joe Biden announces he's running for president, and then like a week later, FTX is founded, and everybody's like, where did he get all this money from? These are all the people who are saying that he's essentially funneling money into, because he's the second biggest donor to the Democratic Party behind George Soros.
Yeah, to me that's crazy. I'm a right leaning kind of dude, so like for me, I'd have no problem kind of going down that rabbit hole, but it's just nonsense.
Yeah,
like ultimately, So
what do you think's going to happen? What is your prediction? If you had,
I think he gets life.
You think he gets
I think he gets life. I think Madoff got life. Many other people like that got life. Ultimately, the way the courts look at it is it depends on how many people you've hurt. If you hurt thousands of people and people who needed that money, you really are. The courts look at that much, much worse than if you hurt 5 people who are billionaires, right? Like right. That's
as they should, I guess.
Right. It's like, listen, those people are smart enough to figure out, supposed to be smart enough to figure this all out. Whereas the person that has $5,000 in FTX or 10 grand or 25,000 that they were saving, they thought crypto would be a good thing to diversify with, or who knows what, and you just rob them. I mean, that's something that, and there's 50,000, 100,000, maybe even 1 million people like that. It's fucked up. That can really, I normally say that financial crime should not be as punished as heavily as it is, because it's not a crime of violence. It's a paper crime. A lot of this stuff is technicalities like, well, did you use this accounting system or that accounting system? It's not fucking like robbing a bank or like shooting somebody. But in this case, I make the exception where it's like, no, you really do have a huge scale of pain that's being caused here. That's unprecedented, really.
I mean, you'd have to think there's going to be some suicides from this, generally, stuff like this, right? So it's like, it's almost not, a crime. There is an argument to be made that it's a crime of.
Absolutely. And, when at the end of a trial, when it comes time for the judge to sentence, typically what happens is the victims read, the victims get to sort of have their day in the sun and explain what happened and how they were affected. And so usually that's a pretty dramatic and, really cathartic experience for the victims. And it impacts the judge's sentencing. And if you remember Larry Nassar's,
of course,
so that was an example that was so painful and so like visceral that when that happened, he got 150 years for a crime that was really horrible. But the victim impacted here is going to be, amongst the most catastrophic victim impacts ever, done.
I'm gonna put my name in the lottery to be able to go read a statement.
Right.
I'm gonna really ham it up. Okay, I'm not gonna keep you because I've been on for a while and I appreciate your time. Do you have the worst? Do you want to provide a story? The worst you've ever been scammed?
The worst I've ever been scammed.
And you can count the government as scamming you. I will count that.
So I've been scammed. I had a startup software company that was a really big deal to me, and there was a woman named Anna Delvey who decided that she wanted to invest in my company, and she told me she was going to invest $300,000, and we waited and waited and waited for this $300,000, and it never came. And basically, she didn't scam me in a bad way. A lot of investors, will invest and then then they'll decide that they're not investing.
Sure.
That happens all the time. But that was sort of my most recent scam. If you don't count somebody getting a candy bar from me in prison and not paying me. Thanks, Danny. Great talking to you, bro.
Nice. Thanks, Martin. Thanks for calling, everybody. Take care. Bye. Martin Shkreli, everybody. That was Martin Shkreli, the pharma bro. Worst he got scammed, and a Delvey.